morning, everyone. Call this meeting to order. We'll stand and do pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jake. If you could do roll call, please.
Keisha Johnner.
Here.
Jim Mueller.
Here.
Steve McCombs. Here.
Entertain a motion for today's agenda.
Move to approve today's agenda.
Second. McCombs.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Johnner.
Hi. On to business. For this, trying to wrap up today our budget sessions. And this would be for fiscal year 26-27. This morning, we will be hearing from a few more departments, and that would be IT, GIS, maintenance, and public health, and the treasurer. So excited so far what we've been able to do, and I'm thankful for everybody being here and being willing to participate. This morning we're going to go ahead and just keep on moving, and we will hear from IT and GIS. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning.
My understanding, Drew's going to have a start with GIS. So that is Department of T.
Yes, and actually, if you wouldn't mind, I do have a PowerPoint I would like to show first.
Awesome. I want you to know that we've had some sort of presentation every day. That's great.
Have them like bring that up for me.
I'm sure Chris right here in the front row, he's got one.
So he does.
It's all good. I just like to tease.
You got a shadow.
The PowerPoint is not mandatory, I must say. It's okay.
Like that screen over on that.
Well, we get all that.
Oh my goodness. All right,
All right.
PowerPoint. Okay.
Yes. So start off here. Just want to go ahead to the next slide for me, Emily. Maybe.
There we go.
All right. So I just want to kind of show some things that IT's done this past year, whatnot. So at first we did some UPS upgrades. We did the sheriff's office UPS as they were updating generator over there. We also
UPS.
UPS. So UPS is
Postal Service.
no, it's not. So UPS is our backup batteries for our systems, switches and all that stuff. So, so if the power goes out, everything stays running. So, we also did another one over at the courthouse at the same time as Chris was doing his generator upgrade there. So, we still have a few more to do around the county to upgrade and replace. So that's kind of on the ballot for us project-wise this year as well. I'm still in the middle of doing switch upgrades. Last week I did our main core switches, so that's pretty much what all the networks come into at the courthouse. Is just two stacked core switches, so everything runs from there and to the internet from there. So Junction 92, we got a switch over there, and let's go dark fiber put in, so they're live, internet wise over there. Tyler's been talking with me on for their office data drops and stuff like that, so that's upcoming. We did a phone system upgrade from version 18 to version 20. Took us a couple tries, early mornings, but we finally got that going. Then the biggest thing was this last year was Windows 10 was going out of support at was middle October at the time. So we had about 60 machines. We had to go from 10 to 11. So we had to do a lot of those. There's a couple machines we couldn't update, so we don't have them either not touching network at all, or else it's on a separate network that is totally not touching anything of our personal. Printers, we got a new contract for the printers, updated them, saved the county some money on moving to Marco instead of MMIT. So the body worn cameras is not complete yet, but we're in process of doing. We have Jeff working, my new employee Jeff, who came from the sheriff's office. He is working on getting those up and running for the conservation. Talking way too fast for myself here. And the last one is next week. We're actually doing a huge e-waste cleanup. So there was a whole bunch of computers downstairs that we need to get rid of. I think I have like 100 some hard drives, SSDs that we're gonna get pretty much wiped and get a certificate back from the company saying they've been shredded and all that stuff. So that's a huge cleanup in my back room, and at least for like here in sheriff's office, and at least 3014 as well, to get all that old stuff out. So
Do you have all the stuff from all the departments and stuff too? Is everybody?
there's
spending all
some,
their-
I know Tyler is getting some. I'm gonna be working with Brian to get stuff, because I know they have stuff upstairs in their area. Friday, tomorrow, I'm planning on going over to the sheriff's office in 3014 to officially get all that over to the courthouse onto the pallets we have downstairs.
We're gonna clean houses.
We are.
In the whole house, right?
Exactly. So that's the plan, at least. So
Is there any, when those are clean, then you just have that, and you get rid of it?
That's the.
yeah, so the
Percent, okay.
so when like the drives or we pull out the drives, pretty much when we want to get rid of those, either if the company that we're going with, pretty much we had to get it shredded, so there's no data, and that's a cost to get the certificate back, so we know, hey, it's been shredded. Here's the the serial number that coincides with the hard drive or
Okay.
SSD, so we know it's been
Is
shredded.
that costly?
So I think it's $10 per hard drive, $8 per SSD. But if you have so much, like I think 50 hard drives, then it costs is $8 per hard drive, and SSD, if you have more than 50, it's like $5 or $6. So I mean, it is costly, but at least we know our data is not on there anymore.
We ever done that before?
I'm not sure here if they ever did. I think Dehan has some other ways of shredding and getting rid of those. I just feel more comfortable at least giving it to someone else that I know and getting those certificates
You have the
back.
certificate, yes, I agree, yeah, it's.
Exactly.
Us, that, they totally do it the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Emily, can we go back one slide? I've had a lot of experience with IT departments and everything, and I gotta tell you, seeing all those accomplishments and knowing that they're in progress, that is an outstanding performance. I mean, that is just awesome. I mean, UPS upgrades, the planning and execution that has to go into that and get it done effectively without impacting the users.
Yeah.
Switch upgrades, also not easy. Bringing a new location online, Junction 92. Phone systems can be flaky to begin with, let alone trying to upgrade them. Just all of those things. I just want to publicly say, we really owe you a debt in knowing that that was done so well, and you accomplished a ton of stuff. And I know you and I have had conversations about what our goals and things are, but
yeah,
I did not anticipate being able to accomplish all of those things.
Yes.
In a year. So now what are you gonna do for us next week?
Well, that's a little bit coming up. So once we get there, you'll see.
I have a
So,
question for you though.
yes.
Conservation body worn cameras, is that something that they will be wearing all the time? Is that just for, do you have any idea? We didn't talk about that yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not 100% if it's all the time or if it's when they get a call, they'll put it on, turn it on.
Okay,
I know getting a computer set up that'll be on the sheriff's network, so at least body cam, those footages will get offloaded to the UDE system that we have. So
and it makes sense.
yes,
Sure.
yeah. So all that stuff is a server we have on site that's in our data center. So yeah. So all right. So if you want to next slide again. So this is just a ticket count that we had for the past year. It has gone up. Some of the stuff is notifications from our systems, like the phone system. So we have to think about 15 to 20 of those ticket counts will be from that. I am getting into a spot where I want like if someone calls or someone stops us in the office or walks by or something like that, that's something I do want to have my team put a ticket in, so that will probably be going up. So, but at least that's for the past year, so you guys can kind of see.
When the board asks you for something, we need to be better about using the ticket system.
That would be great, yes, but if not, we're planning on still always trying to put tickets in, so.
Now that we have a portal, it should be able to be helpful,
Yeah,
right? You're
yeah,
on there.
yeah.
My biggest problem is sometimes finding where it's at, so if I can know where it's at, yeah.
So, yeah.
So Steve, to move that TV, we need to put in a ticket.
Yes.
I was trying to remember my password.
We'll help you with that.
Exactly, so, all right, Emily, next. So this is just total phone calls we had for the year, just getting it down, and some of those phone calls are of course sales calls, and of course some of it is actually, you know, asking for help on different items, and we kind of divvy up between 3 people, because part of the time we had 3 people, and part half the year we had 2, so I was kind of depending on if there was 3 people or 2 people. So next slide. Then this is just door scans into our office. Again, some of those are also Chris's team coming in, like Kim and Paige for trash and stuff like that. But there's also others coming in for questions and all that stuff. So, next slide.
Being stopped in the hallway or other offices.
So yes. So as I mentioned before, there's some stuff that's not counted in this item. So that's why, like I said before, we're trying to have my team create tickets. So for this year, we do plan on updating access points. I do have some this year I'm doing that I haven't signed. I'm just waiting for licenses from HBS so I can actually replace some of the old access points that's out there. I got more switches I gotta do. I'm gonna be on a 7-year. So the switches I've done this year hasn't been in place for 7 years. So I kind of want to keep that 7-year cycle going. I'm planning on looking at data storage. There's different systems we have now that we no longer use that I need to get rid of, and there's some that I need to update. So that's a plan for this year. One of the biggest things that will help everyone is this 365 sync. So your passwords on site will be your password for your email.
Yeah.
So that's my plan this year to get that going. So there's some items I gotta look at before implementing, just to make sure there's no errors between the sync before I, hit go for that piece. So other piece is education for my team. I know I want to look at education for myself too, for like Security Plus and stuff like that. Nicole, I want to get at least into the networking side as well, and Jeff on he's finishing his CompTIA A+ and going to the network as well. And the last is AS400. We have that. We already purchased it. It's in house now. I just gotta get it racked and then get the solutions to get their data switched over. So
Is that something they can do all remotely?
yes,
Remote access?
yeah. It's just
Transition from one box to the other.
yeah. It's just my side of stuff I gotta get racked first. So and just things to consider, pricing technology needs, the cost of technology this year. RAM is going to be hard to find and come by because there is a AI race going on. So they're buying up RAM, GPUs, and all that stuff. So that's going to be one of the hardest things probably this year to be doing. And I'm looking at technology computer replacements for this year for departments, and I know cost has gone up from the ones I bought in September to now. I looked at the same ones. They've gone up from, I think I bought them at $800 now to $1,200. So their stuff has gone up in price, unfortunately.
Would it make sense to have a backstock of
I've actually
pre-buy some, or?
thought about that, and I've been thinking about having extras on
I mean,
hand
we
in
did
case.
40 computers last year in 1 year. I would think we want to fill an inventory of 20.
Yeah. So I've been thinking of having like maybe 10 on stock at some point in time, and in case something does happen, I can easily swap out the drive and then call support to get that one repaired that's damaged or whatnot, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, so that's my PowerPoint, so we can actually start with going to the GIS budget.
Thank you. Okay, Drew, just kind of looking over, I mean. So when you look at the GIS budget, I'm not quite sure, but you don't have any salary increase.
Yes,
Right?
so.
Can you explain that, or?
Yes, I'm actually gonna have Nicole more come out of the IT budget.
Okay.
So it'll be I think I calculated it to be an 80-20.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't increase there. I'm just gonna have her more out of the IT side of stuff, since she's been doing a lot more as she became the assistant director, and as the interim director before was doing a lot of IT.
Okay.
And just more balancing that out for her. So only increase there on her side of stuff. It's just software went up by 5%, and that's to cover the Esri licenses for GIS side that everyone uses to access that system. We're doing a 3 years, so next year I do have time, but then we should get from there. It's just way we switch licensing up. So.
Yeah. I guess there's not much on you guys, is there?
No.
And that keeps it simple.
It does.
Can I ask a question, Dave, of you, and just how things can, because this is interesting with splitting payroll in a one-person payroll between multiple departments. Is it better to have them fully charged to one department and then do a receivable from one department to another? And the only reason I ask that question is just from a budgetary and management standpoint. It's like how much is payroll is that salary? You gotta go through multiple sheets to add things up. And I'm only asking just from past experience. A lot of people do it different ways.
So there aren't very many people that are split up that way between departments or funds, you might say. Emily and Jeff, like in our own department, we have some split between some election stuff and non-election stuff. I think maybe I misspoke on that one, but
Yeah, you do.
I was thinking that. And for this, so it's not a lot of extra for us to make that division because we can set it up in our system and our system just does it. So it's actually not an onerous task from the system standpoint. If you guys, here we go again, but if the board would prefer, it to be an all one, we would need to come up with, it would just come out of one all year and then write some sort of a claim, something to flip it. We historically haven't done that. There are only just a few departments that do divisions like that.
Okay.
So
More curiosity.
yeah, good question. And it can be done if that's the board's desire. We could come up with a plan to do that.
And I thought about that before too, Jim, so I just.
And so like,
I also think that it is helpful when you have somebody that job is split, and kind of shows probably what you're thinking she's spending her time on. 20% is for GIS. I mean, yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I wouldn't suggest that you bury all the expenses in one department with another. Just from a total payroll standpoint.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier to manage total payroll and then a receivable or a transition on a different line.
Yeah.
So,
On the, if I may, I know it's yours, but like, I kind of really like the idea that you guys had mentioned about stockpiling or having some computers on hand, like you guys do for our battery backups when they just die.
Yeah.
So from a standpoint of that, so like if we would buy 20 ahead, this was just in my head is like, oh, that's a great idea. Except then the question is then who pays that on the front end? Would that be something that would come out of 99 and I'm not looking for an answer. I love having some on stock because waiting or if you're dead, but it's like, would it be better if like each department pre-bought? This is just to think about it.
Yeah.
We can move or like a general stockpile. And if you can get efficiencies, so that's just for the future. But I like the idea we would have to figure out how you want to structure it.
Because currently, right now, when you have, like, if I wanted a computer or an update, it comes out of our budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, and that helps show that departmental expense.
Right.
Right now, we generally come through and he does the big purchase once a year for our replacements. I mean, maybe we just do that on the front end, so they're in stock. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or we come up with a plan that it comes from one pot. Don't have an answer.
Yeah,
I really like the stockpile idea though. Or
take it out of the department's budgets
maybe,
and
maybe.
I like
I
the
mean,
thought.
smaller departments, it's not as big as like a
Yeah.
Tyler or a sheriff or something where
But-
there's a lot more, right?
right, and that's for my budget. That defines if it goes up or it stays the same, it's, do I need a computer and help too?
And then not that we would sit around too long that they would become outdated or whatever. I don't know how to balance it. I really like the idea, so.
Yeah, we can figure something out at least there. Nice, so.
All right, so over to IT department two.
Yep.
Obviously, just going through a little bit. Okay, so on your second line, obviously I see what salary study had done for your salary.
Yeah.
And then this is Nicole and Jeff in your second line.
Yes, and I know I didn't change that, and I know, as I mentioned last year, I guess A1 I think had to have maybe a fourth person. That's why I want to at least keep it there as a placeholder. I don't plan on getting a fourth person yet until I can show numbers that we need it. That's why the tickets at least just showed you guys today, I was showing, yeah, numbers are going up. So, but until I can get Jeff fully trained up, I'm not planning on fourth person, but I'd rather keep that as a placeholder in case it was there beforehand.
How much of this number is that fourth person?
So I'm trying to think what should probably be 50.
Without having to break down.
Yeah,
the
I'm trying to think.
salaries.
I mean, just in general, I mean, a third.
About 60, I think, is about kind of which that would be more than enough, which to me, a fourth person would be a help desk level 1 technician, which would be, at least minimum 40K. So that'd be
I do
the,
know that's been in there for a few years. It
Yeah.
has been.
So.
And depending upon what we see, but yeah. I just asked that you would bring before the board before
Yes.
doing so.
Yeah,
Even though it's
I
in your
plan.
budget, just ask before.
Yeah.
To make sure. Okay, yep.
no, I don't plan on doing anything before talking with Lisa and you guys, so.
Okay. Let's go down to software and maintenance, obviously.
Yep.
It's roughly a 5% increase.
Yeah, I'm expecting 5% overboard. 7% of was solutions, so solutions is going up 7%. They're going from 54 to about 58 itself. And there's some stuff with like Meraki licenses that may go up with depending on what kind of switches I get for this year.
Okay.
I did cut out Light Edge, which was about 8,000. The last claim was put in for Tuesday, so I won't be paying those anymore. As I swapped out, I got rid of our last server off our cluster and over to our scale environment. So that getting rid of that net app, so I don't need their backup anymore. So I did cut out at least some there, but I'm still expecting some of the software expenses to go up. So, yeah.
And on page 2, I just see that you have, obviously, you already spoke about that, your education piece, which I understand.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I don't have any questions. I'll let the others ask if they have something on expense. I would like to go to revenue.
Then revenue, I know 5,000 is KPD, 1,000 is P-bill for VPN services. I did send an invoice last year for P-bill, but I didn't see a check. So I sent a new invoice with last year and this year. At least, so, and if I don't receive one, I'm gonna have to talk with Adam, the police chief over there about it, and
Yeah,
if he wants
I
to
agree.
continue services.
Yeah, I mean, because we're not gonna continue to do something for free if,
Exactly. So,
that, yeah, so I appreciate that, because that was one of my questions I had brought up. My other question would be, I know in the past, when Andrew was here on items, 4 and 5, we have some like information request and miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Do we, I mean, some people ask for like reporting and stuff like that, and I didn't know if GIS, maybe mapping, that would probably go under GIS, but
Yeah,
I didn't know if that revenue slot was in just IT alone. But I mean, do we need to continue to have
Might-
this if this is something that we're not?
I know since I've been here, I haven't really had any information requests besides the one Emily sent over. And so other than that, I haven't seen much. I think has been some on the GIS side, but I don't think we've really charged anything,
What
so.
we have to do when realtors or people ask, are we limiting what we're offering them? Like, we're not giving them these huge maps for free.
I know most time what I was told by Nicole, we usually do stuff in-house, we really don't do stuff outside. So I haven't really. So I
I guess.
pretty much
if
stayed
you-
with that,
if
so.
you see requests, people are wanting, large maps, I mean, I'm just saying this in general, I think that
I agree.
there should be a charge for that.
Yeah,
because that's-
Absolutely.
I think the only one was Eville that I know of.
Okay.
I know some people asked for them, but we told them no on that because we really don't do that. I mean, if you want us to, we can and charge that stuff and at least get a little revenue.
Right.
That way we can. I'll just leave it up to you guys and see which way you want
I
us
just
to
we've
go.
talked about it in the past, but I don't know that there's ever been really a consistency of people asking.
Yeah.
We had for a while, I think, somebody coming in and it probably was a previous employee at the time, that was doing some GIS work, that maybe they were just giving them the maps and such, but.
Yeah.
You and Nicole can at least visit about that and make sure, we're not doing those services for free, but then
Yeah.
second of all, I don't know if that I mean, you've got $4,000 in here.
Um,
I mean, it's not a lot of money, but I think in the future, it probably is.
okay. Yeah. I know I think
We're not gonna-
miscellaneous.
We haven't consistently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the miscellaneous line, I think was when A1 and A2 was actually selling the computers that we had
oh,
before, you know. I'm not still up in the air which way I want to go with that, because I know before they were selling for like $50 a computer. Just between the time wiping them and then selling it, it's kind of like a wash or a loss. So that's why I've been up in the air still.
how much, let me ask you this, I'm gonna use myself as an example.
Yeah.
Got a cell phone, alright, it's not great, camera. It's cracked, I'm due for, new one. But it works for what I need it to.
Mhm.
This one isn't really worth anything, I mean. The way it is right now, but if it's in a great condition. Something. Worth the $50, I don't know.
Yeah.
You gotta wipe it,
Mhm.
right, and I don't know what we've been doing with that stuff, is that something that? When you're doing this clean out, is that some of that stuff's going with that, or is that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
yeah, so I guess, in the long and short, if you wanna leave a line because you feel like you may have an iPad or something that you can sell or whatever. But I would, it'd probably be, yeah, it's not worth,
keeping, yeah.
yeah,
So,
very
yeah.
minimal, $500 or something, I just don't wanna. Put revenue in there and us counting on some revenue and it's not really.
No, that's totally fine with me too. So I can
Okay.
definitely lower
So
it. at
just
least
next
one.
year, if you can, please remove, remove that.
That doesn't mean that if it has value and there's somebody willing to pay for it, we'll still we'll sell it. However, I wouldn't plan the budget for it, that's just, I call it found money,
Mhm. Yeah.
it just goes as a negative part of it.
So yeah, that's
Bring it in as miscellaneous income.
that's totally fine with me. So I'll try and remember that for next year. So
But also I like your thought process too, if I'm only gonna get $50 for it, but it takes $70 worth of labor. Is it worth that investment? To me, the answer is no, it's always one of those things, let's just get rid of it.
yeah.
And generally you try to tend, I mean, like myself, my last iPad, I had it 7 years.
Mhm.
I try to use it as long as I can because it's,
Yeah.
phone seems to be a little bit, I
Mhm.
think I need them off a little bit more, but, Drew, I do not have any other questions, I think what you presented is just fine, and, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your due diligence and. Drew, I appreciate your approach. I'm thankful for, oftentimes you will come and you'll ask and you'll say, this might cost us a little more or whatever, and how to handle that, and, I appreciate your knowledge.
So,
I do appreciate that.
awesome. And I do have one big ask, and because I've been talking with Jake about this. So I know in about
Way to build a team when you got a big.
Yeah, wait, in the end, didn't he?
So I know in about 3 years, I will have to replace my scale environment, which hosts 95% of our servers. I know when Myers bought it, it was about 130K.
Yep.
And I don't want to go switch to a new system because actually the scale environment that we have is actually 10 times easier to use than if we do Hyper-V or VMware. That's why I was wondering if there's a way, maybe talk with you guys about setting up maybe like a capital fund for when that comes up in 3 years to replace, because I'm pretty sure now, but 2 years ago being 130, I'm pretty sure it's going to be maybe like 160,000 just to replace that whole system. And I don't want to exactly raise my budget up by that much if I don't have to, if we are able to put some money aside now to pay for that later on.
So I think, Jake, how did you do your software or your elections equipment? Did you do that through your department or did you do that?
So the elections equipment came through the general supplemental because it's for voting purposes. So it's allowed to come out of general supplemental. And that was a line item out of Department 99 that you guys allowed out of Fund 2. We did not set aside money for a few years ahead in a separate fund that was taken out of the supplemental. And we're trying to keep that on rotation so there's less of this. Drew's wondering if we could create a savings account that you could budget 25, 50, whatever thousand a year and set aside so it there and grows. So when he purchases, we'd have to budget for it. We'd have to do all that.
Yeah.
That's what he's asking, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you just want to, before possibilities are you don't do it and you just know it's coming and his budget would increase by this at that time. That's an option. If you wanted to, we do have the capital improvements fund that like sale of the county farm, and there's a $50,000 potential transfer each year into that. We have that fund, or we could set up a brand new fund just for this purpose. We would have to create the fund in the system, then Michaela would have to manage it. And it would be something she'd have to reconcile ongoing. But that's something that could be done. That wouldn't necessarily have to be included in this budget per se, because it would just be revenue into that fund. We could do it sometime throughout the year. If you would want to come up with that, you would want to add that potential payment to your savings account, for lack of a better term, into your expense side out of Department 99. And I do think that's a Fund 1 expense. I don't think it could come out of any other fund.
The question I was just gonna ask you is do you feel that could fit under the capital improvements?
Well, if it's that much money, the really hard part with Drew in the IT world for us with scheduling it on fixed assets or inventory and then individually listing it with ICAP or not is it's a $160,000 purchase, but when you break it down, how much of that is an individual box that he's putting in his rack? I'm sorry about the terminology.
No.
The project is this, but there's all these electronic components that are separate, and then there's usually a bunch of software. So they don't always meet our capital threshold. So I do think that could be definitely argued and supported if that was a decision that we could come from there. But if it's just for his IT purposes and the board has established that capital improvements fund for maybe something different, like tuck pointing the courthouse, I don't know, I'm just using that as an example, right? That it would be better if you want to have a set aside savings account, that it would be separate from that. Or on the other option, we have the one fund, and we, between Michaela and I and Drew, track how much of it is been set in there for the IT purpose and how much of it has been set aside further. So basically keep subs. Those are all the options available to this.
Because we currently, or in the past, I mean, this was something that initiated several years ago, that you start setting aside for capital improvements. Just so we have, right, we know that long-term, there's things that's gonna be coming up. To me, if we can use it out of that, instead of creating another line item, that would make more sense. And then we can choose, like, this year I think it's 50,000, or we have.
That's what you guys have historically budgeted was 50,
50,000 to earmark towards that.
and it's in this budget already.
Yeah, it's in the budget already, so. Yeah. But depending upon what Chris has, what we're seeing and, we can.
I use that as an example.
No, yeah, but I do think
Just
that
because he was sitting there.
we haven't necessarily pulled a ton from it, I don't think,
Sometimes.
yeah, so it's not. We're,
There's a little wiggle room in it.
yeah, so right now, I think that,
We got you covered.
yeah, I understand what you're doing,
Yeah, no.
and I get that, and I think that we could work that out of the cap.
Okay. I just know within 3 years I'll have my firewalls, which is gonna be at least 60 to 70K right there. So that's why it's like I want to figure something out now.
And actually, I would sometimes like that, because what happens is we can lose sight as the board, not that you, but I mean, if a budget. Somebody takes their budget up, then we don't always remember, oh, it needs to come back down. This is.
Yeah.
These things that are just being pulled, and then your budget is staying relatively, consistent, so. Yeah.
So
And actually, it's great that we talk about firewalls and storage and all those things. I think it would also be beneficial for all of us to get a 5-year improvement plan of, okay, this is year one, this is year two, and these are the things that I see of needing to be replaced, whether it's firewalls or storage or whatever, or routers, and all of that stuff carries an expense that your day-to-day expense, but those are things that you just have to do. I think it'd be beneficial for everybody to just say, okay, I know we got 60,000 for this and this year. This one is 160,000, probably more like 250 by the time we get to it. And then we kind of pencil those things out so that we can see it, because you're not the only one that's going to be facing those things. I mean, we talk about technology in pretty much every single department, and it can snowball on us. And to Keisha's point, it's easy to lose track of.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're got sticker shock when you get a $350,000 ask for technology, and you don't know what it was for or why we. So that would be awesome if we. So
yeah, I think I kind of have a sheet of kind of building that and done software wise and a little bit on the hardware side that it's in my head. So I can definitely give that stuff to you guys sometime. So
That'd be great. So. Thank you, Drew.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
nice job.
On to me. This to be, appreciate it.
How we doing, board?
Good. Gotta find you though. What number are you? 51.
51. Well, every year I start off with just a small snapshot of maintenance as a whole. In the last 7 years, when I came on board, we were just shy of 20% of everything done in-house. This year, I would say we're somewhere in that 96% range of everything being done in-house. I know we're not a department that is a revenue generator. That's a very important thing. We accept that, we acknowledge that. I think one of the important things to realize from anybody's standpoint, public standpoint, I actually get questioned about this a lot. I guess my new nickname in Marion County is Mr. Courthouse. So that's usually how I get addressed when people see me. They ask the question.
Mr. Castle, at least,
No, I could try to change it up a little bit, but in all fairness, I will take Mr. Courthouse over some of the other terms. So one thing I get asked frequently is it cost effective to do things the way we do? We see other counties doing the complete opposite. I'll use, obviously not a comparison to us from size, but Polk County, for example. They have a maintenance department of one. They have a maintenance director. That person facilitates outside contractors. That is what they do. That is a shift for them because they originally had a fairly sizable maintenance department.
Okay.
Now almost everything, and we see a lot of counties doing the same thing. I think there's some drawbacks to that. One of the biggest drawbacks is timeliness. So if you have had anything break in your home that is in the vertical infrastructure realm that we reside in, it's not the days of having somebody show up and fix something are done.
It's hard to find people.
And it's hard to find somebody who's willing to show up at all. So I think what doing things the way we're doing it, where we're almost predominantly in-house, has netted us a benefit of timeliness. I view us as the department that stretches the dollar extremely far. So if you think about the size of our budget, the makeup of our budget, and what we're actually able to accomplish within that budget, we're definitely not a department that's trying to be jack of all trades and masters of none. We're actually opposite. I want this department to be masters of all things. And that's really where we're striving to. You'll see that in the investment in the technology, the tools, the education, the licensing, all those things play into us really trying to master every aspect of what we have for vertical infrastructure. And one of the biggest things is our vertical infrastructure is not something that spans 50 years. If you had a house built in the 70s, you have vertical infrastructure that spans 50 years. We have 1896 to almost present day when we consider the maintenance shop. In fact, today at 10 o'clock, the guys are going to go out to the new maintenance building. There's a walkthrough in the HVAC system. They're going to go out and familiarize themselves with that. That way, if we have problems in that new facility, we're a phone call away. And it's not a matter of trying to go back and get a contractor to show up or anything of that nature. One of the additional things that you're all well aware of, we've really taken on trying to project manage in-house all projects. That started with the VA demolition, which we did 100% in-house. That's going to carry on. I'm going to give Tyler a hand with the new office building out at Junction, so we don't run into the same situation that we've been running into.
We live and learn, don't we?
We do live and learn. Yes. The days of being able to hire out a contractor and then trust that contractor to follow through, that's a replacement of a kitchen sink, or that's you getting a new house built. We've all experienced it. And it's not that contracting in general is trying to be deceptive. It's not that they don't care. It's that we've created an environment where there's so few of them. They're pushed so far. It really has become bare bones. I need to do the very minimum to make this person happy so I can get to the list of 500 more people who are unhappy. So I don't want to paint a picture that contractors are intentionally trying to be deceptive or not to produce a good quality project. But the contractor that does the best, those are unaffordable contractors at this point. So
It's actually a trait that a lot of people are not necessarily picking up.
I'm shocked at I know this is a plug for the trades, but I'm actually blown away. My son is a journeyman electrician. He just got his license in Des Moines. He has no college debt. He makes a tremendous amount of money, almost what I make. And he's 21 years old. You know, I'm shocked more. But he works 75 hours a week. He works every Saturday. He goes in some Sundays. And he's gone for, multiple hours every day. So, and he travels out there. So there is a drawback to it, but we're running out of electricians and plumbers and carpenters, which is another reason we're continually striving. At some point, I would love to see this department do 100% of everything in-house. I would like it to be, and we're seeing more of that. For example, we're about to build a new desk for Nicole in IT. The cost of a really nice, solid walnut, live edge, beautiful desk is a fraction of what we would buy a cheap desk for if he actually ordered one. So we're doing things like that. We're building a piece of furniture for conservation for one of their displays. We built multiple desks out there. So we're trying to take on. We build courtrooms. So
Hey, but you're not for hire.
Actually, I
I'm
think
just saying.
we should probably reach out to other counties that are in that situation. I think there's we could actually be a revenue generator at that point.
Then we wouldn't get our stuff done.
Well, that's probably true. That's probably true. But
We'd only be doing the minimum, to make us happy, just like any other kind.
that's true.
I
I like it. One of the things we do have going that's very positive right now is this is the first time since I've started that I've had the ability to actually look really far ahead. So one thing you're going to be seeing here in the next couple months is I'm putting together a 3, 5, and 10-year infrastructure plan for the county, so you guys can start planning accordingly for that with things like the capital improvement fund. We have not had the ability to do that yet because it has literally been chasing our tail for 7 years, trying to find weak points in infrastructure before they explode. And I know explode's a big term, but in a lot of cases, that's what we run into. So that's a possibility. We spend a tremendous amount of time at the LEC and the courthouse. They are our two busiest locations. And that is not because the infrastructure is poor. It is because they're high usage buildings.
Yeah.
If
You
you
got a
think
24-hour
you
operation.
have 24-hour operation, I would tell you that the courthouse is, although it's not a 24-hour operation, the mechanical behind the scenes of what keeps that building going. Most people don't ever make it to the basement. Most people never make it into the chases to see what kind of infrastructure we actually have to keep that building at a reasonable temperature alone. Takes a tremendous amount of time to manage. But we're getting to a place where we've really limited some of the big fracture points in our infrastructure. We've had a very respectful board in the last 7 years that I've been here, where we've had the ability to take some huge financial responsibilities on, replace big ticket items. That's great. And at the other side of it, if it wasn't for you all approving my budget every year, we'd be back at square one, because it doesn't take long for your infrastructure to go backwards if we stop maintaining it, if we stop replacing stuff prior to failure. And like Drew and like a lot of the other departments that are feeling the crunch of supply and demand right now, this is not going to change for us. I reached out, I think I've had a conversation with a couple of you on it. I've reached out to almost every one of our major suppliers, and their increase this year was a very close increase. They told me somewhere between 5 and 50% across the board and everything. Circulation pumps are up over 70% because we have offshored almost everything. There's probably not a component in our infrastructure that is made in this country, and probably not even an option of buying a component that's actually made in this country. So that is something we have to continually think about. It's something we need to be cognizant of. I'm getting more and more into the place where I'm stocking, where I am pre-buying circulation pumps, which is a net cost for something that's going to sit on the shelf. But the problem with it is even when I pre-buy it, a circulation pump may take 6 to 8 weeks. We have a transfer switch that needs to be replaced at the jail. It took 96 weeks to get that transfer switch. So
crazy.
It's insanity. I mean, you look at how long it took. We planned a year in advance to do a electrical upgrade at the courthouse. And yes, that was a hired out project, but the three of us spent 4 days, 14 to 15 hours a day working on that, and our portion off the bill was close to $40,000 we saved in labor. I think. And the few companies we do hire out, we have that relationship with, where we get to work alongside of them, and then they discount that net cost to us. They bill basically our labor into the bid, which is a fantastic. So moving on to the budget, unless you have any questions about projects or anything like that. The only big change that I have, which all three of you are unfortunately aware of, is post me submitting this budget. There's a new one. This budget is, and I still almost get emotional thinking about it, but Joe Kennedy has announced his retirement. That is a big deal. I'm super awesome for him, but that is a huge loss for our county. His institutional knowledge, and even more so his work ethic, is going to be very, very difficult to replace. He just doesn't. He's there. If it's a cold winter day, even if things are working great, I would guarantee you Joe has been to the jail 5 or 6 times over that weekend, without pay in most cases. Most of the time, I don't even find out about it. It's because when it's sub-zero and we have inmates and we have a threshold where the county could be liable to legal action if the temperature falls a certain way, he's there just checking stuff. So finding a replacement for him is going to stink. But financially, I do have to ask for more money. Or we need to figure out a way to work around that. We have worked on what his payout's going to be. Roughly $30,000 is going to cover his sick leave and his
And you don't have that in here, correct?
No, that is not in that. That's why I wanted to bring that up now. And then my goal right now is we think about trying to find a candidate. And starting that process, I really, depending on the candidate, and I'm being very hopeful here, is that I would get a quality candidate that within 3 months of working side by side with Joe would be in a position where when he leaves, I can put my time into him, Derek can put his time into that candidate, and we can get him to where he needs to be, or her, in the next year, would be my hope. But I am planning on at minimum of 3 months that we're going to have an additional salary line come out of it. Now, what I'm asking for is 6 months. And the reason I'm asking for that is if I have a poor candidate, if I posted this job, let's say October, someone's going to obviously give some notice. I would like to start in October for the simple fact, if I get a candidate that meets all the criteria, the basic criteria of a basic maintenance tech, but is going to need more than 3 months to be working side by side with Joe, I would really like that flexibility to happen. So total ask would be an additional 60 to plan for that retirement. And that's the only additional ask that I have.
You got a vehicle, right? Is that?
Yep.
Which one are we trading out there? I know you bought.
So that is not a guaranteed at this point. So here's what we're running into on that is we originally had a 5-year plan. Plowing snow with trucks is very, very hard on equipment. So the truck that I drive right now, my vehicle maintenance budget is completely gone, and then some. Just with some of the breakdowns, the mechanical issues, I'm looking at a rebuild on it. And that's not because I'm off-roading on the weekends. All right, I'm not doing that, I promise. But sticking a plow on a vehicle and pushing snow with it is very, very hard. So originally we had planned on a 5-year rotation. Keisha, you were here when and Steve, you were both here when we originally bought all 3 of those trucks. It was right at the start of COVID. We did all 3 at once with the intention that we would just put them on a plan so we didn't have an expenditure of 3 vehicles every year. It would just be that one expenditure. One of my propositions, if we're in a position where we have to do this to accommodate the retirement, is we would use that 50,000, we'll band-aid that pickup for another year and put that 50,000 towards the retirement aspect if we needed to from a budgetary standpoint. That's not something I'm opposed to. So that was my contingency offer just to cover the retirement, because obviously this was put together prior to me.
Right.
So
Let's see here.
and I'm confident we could do that.
You could, okay.
Yeah, I'm not
personally, I think that would work better.
sure.
Just because right now we're right there at balancing the budget and
Absolutely.
So, and then next year you plan accordingly, and then I know that So
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm confident we can do that. The reason I put the money in is it's a lot easier to put it in right now, and then we have an issue where we need to do it than having to come back and do it a bunch. So I'm happy that to shift that 50 for that new vehicle and put that towards the retirement package, which then means my ask would be an additional 10,000. And I would probably just move that, Jake. You tell me, do we want to start a separate salary line for that additional person, or do I want to lump that in with my general salary line, which is the 113?
Yeah, do you break them apart now? I don't even know.
you just
I have the one salary line. For my own purposes, I break them all down.
Mhm.
So they all have a COA attached to them, so I can track their individual salaries throughout the year. It helps me judge their overtime and things of that nature. But right now we pull out of one salary line.
Yeah, you have it just in here.
Yep.
At one, so I would just say
Okay.
that one.
Add another one.
Yeah, in this, he has just one line item, is what I see. You used to have.
Well, so I still, when I get my general fund information every month, I get my monthlies. I actually see a breakdown of each employee that's for my purposes only,
Yep.
not for budgetary purposes.
But just your budget.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just say, and adding that.
Yeah, the 105,1113 is the second line of my budget, is my general salary line. So what I propose at that point is we move the 50 from the vehicle into that line.
Okay.
And then we would also add an additional 10.
That'd be 386, 225.
Yep. And those salaries are based 100% off the salary study. So there's no additional or subtracted cost added to those top two salary lines.
And then obviously, losing Joe is it's difficult. But then we would, that line that it would shift a little bit, because
Yep.
that person would be replacing Joe. So-
Yep. And at the same time, Joe had a firm date. I mean, it'll be no later than April 1st of 27. So we would also have April, May, June remainder of his salary.
Yeah.
For a little bit of flex right there. Because the hope, and in all fairness, what I would really like is if we could get a master electrician, which we're talking very comparable salary where Joe is right now, but to have that ability not only for this department, that would effectively eliminate any need to ever seek outside electrical. The only reason we have to hire certain aspects of electrical now is we can't pull permits. A journeyman electrician can't pull permits. It has to be a master electrician in correlation with our insurance would allow us to in-house pull permits, not just for facilities, but for any department. So that's my goal, to get a master electrician.
Hey, Chris, got one question on
Yep.
page 5, the mowing, that 10,000. I know we do a lot of the mowing inside. Is that maintenance? Is that?
Yeah, so that's the maintenance, that's the fuel for the mowers, that's
Okay.
so that 10,000, and that's also for to give you an example, we had a oil pan get fractured. It was $1,000 for an oil pan.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was obviously us doing it in-house. That wasn't us taking it someplace to work on at 175. Now that was literally buying the oil. So I like to keep that budget in a place where not only it is a fair amount of fuel, but in retrospect, when we were hiring the mowing out, we spent roughly 19,000 a year to have things mowed untimely, and it wasn't their fault that it was untimely. But when you're just a number on a list of people you have to get to, this year, for example, Joe mowed the courthouse 3 times a week.
I know, right?
Just to keep it presentable.
Yes.
And we don't get complaints anymore. When we were hiring it out, even with good people that were doing it, we still would have a random person like, hey, the grass is getting a little long. Why do I see clumps over here?
Right.
And people don't want to see that with their public buildings. So.
If the board has other questions, I don't have anything.
Your budget looks fine, and I want to say thank you for all the extra special stuff that you and your department do with building things like this, doing the courthouse, all the desks and all those things. You guys got a skill set that I envy. I wish I could do half of what you guys do.
I'll have an opening soon if you want to. Pull it out.
The quality of my work would not meet your expectations.
Right, I know, exactly. No, we are grateful, and we think, I do, when I'm talking to other supervisors, people ask about different things, and I'm like, do you hire that stuff out, or how, because they ask and wonder how we get it done too, so, thank you, Chris, thank you to your staff. And we're grateful that,
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. I mean, honestly, I can't remember the last time I had somebody complain that something wasn't clean. So that I really want to highlight the ladies too.
Right.
I mean, this is not just a matter of the guys. We tend to get the fanfare because it's very tangible what we do. You see the actual difference, but those ladies show up every day and they scrub toilets and they clean floors and they clean up after people that should be cleaning up after themselves. No offense, but in all fairness, that's the reality.
Yeah.
And they do a fantastic job.
and they do it without complaining,
And I can't remember the last time I had one of them complain about it.
right?
So I get a gross picture every once in a while, something that somebody left as a gift for them. But you know what? They still do it. They take care of it every day. So they do a fantastic job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Express our thanks to them.
I will do.
Yeah, I just appreciate everything on your whole staff.
Well, and know that our staff appreciates you guys as well. It's really nice. I have not had to have an argument when it comes to a budget since I've been here. And that's a pretty nice thing. So appreciate it.
Okay. Do we want to continue and go on to public health? Good with that?
Is there any way
You want to go next?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask her.
That's fine, me.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine, you, no.
Oh, boy, you're in for it now.
Yeah, we're moving to treasurer.
Right, that's fine.
Okay. That means that, sounds like she wants to be quick. She's up front.
Yeah, I'll try.
Go three. Girl, oh, look at her, she's got a PowerPoint.
Well, my intention was really to breathe some fresh air into my PowerPoint this year, and really all I did was change the colors, so. That,
We would not have known.
Right, yeah.
you
it's
don't
okay.
remember it from last year, Jim?
Well, I'm sure I can look back. but-
Yeah, I brought it if you need to. Anyway, so typically I include a lot of stuff about what we do, how we do it, what we have coming up. I kind of stripped a lot of that out of here, just left us with some important numbers. Ultimately, you guys know what we do, you know how we do it. Jim, I held you hostage in my office for a few hours already this year. I promised you I wouldn't do that again. So again, I just kind of stuck with some important numbers. I don't have a big ask in my budget this year. The salary lines were determined by the salary study. There's really not a lot of movement on any of my other operational expenses. So I anticipate this should. So last year we had almost 27,000 total real estate parcels. We billed $64 million just in real estate. Obviously, much of that gets apportioned to our taxing authorities. Special assessments, a little lower last year. We had 108 statements printed. That doesn't necessarily include all of the work that goes into spreads, like when Pella has a sidewalk spread, or the Jasper Street project for Pleasantville. Those are a lot more work. That's what we build. Mobile homes are always a lot of work. Records are maintained in both of our software systems.
I can't believe you haven't been able to get that switched, the state.
Well, there would have to be some sort of interface that they could talk to each other, and nobody on either side is interested in that.
Type of
Yeah.
category, period, you know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
no, mobile homes are kind of their own zoo animal. So again, we have a lot of mobile homes that are out in our unincorporated areas. We have to handle those, just they're taxed as real estate, but they take just as much work in the office maintaining those records as our mobile home park homes do as well. You know, the problem with mobile homes is that those laws were created in the 50s and 60s when mobile homes were truly mobile homes. You know, you had the silver bullet parked in a space and it was, you know, a very mobile vehicle. And that's not necessarily the case anymore, but it is what it is. So motor vehicles, 2024, we did over 50,000 registrations. You know, of course, that continues to be up from what it was 20 some years ago. The big number is in 2025, we did over 13,000 title transactions. When I presented this last year, we had done 12,000 title transactions. And I said, well, that's a lot. That number's up. Well, we're up again this year. So, you know, about 3,000 liens.
Title transfer, I mean, that's kind of interesting considering I figure people was holding cars longer. But
Well, in my
The cost.
opinion, what has happened is in COVID, we had a huge turnover of vehicles. Vehicle sales were skyrocketed at that time. Well, now we've kind of hit that 5-year mark. So I feel like a lot of those folks have maybe replaced those vehicles. And anytime we see interest rates go down, we see the vehicle sales tend to go up. So we did a lot of blackout plates last year again. People love their blackout plates. So
Is that a revenue generator at all? Do we keep anything in-house on that?
Not really for us, it is for the road use fund and they appreciate that,
Oh.
so.
I thought you said you didn't have a full.
So, motor vehicle title transfer appointments in 2025, we had over 7,000. Again, that may not necessarily include, people that didn't make appointments. We try and log everybody, but. So driver's license, I don't have, the number that I really want is how many licensed drivers do we have in Marion County? As odd as it seems, the DOT does not have that data. In fact, I emailed them again yesterday. And part of the problem is, again, we're just dealing with a really old software system. I mean, it's from 2004. It was not built with any advanced reporting capabilities, and extracting that data is to now be done by the Department of Management IT. And so it is what it is. Once we get the new system, we're supposed to have that ability in-house. And I should have better reporting data for the board going forward. So
We both struggled that. When we get the new system.
I say that a lot.
It's hopeful. You are such the opposite.
I am. Well, you get to a point where it can't be worse than what you're using now. So kind of the same thing with our, our driver's license issuance data. We know through November, we did at least 8,000 driver's licenses. There is a bill now that if you are not a resident of the county that you renew your driver's license in, that county can charge a $10 fee to do that. So we did start doing that last year. So that's just a little additional revenue because you're serving people that are not residents of your county. And if property taxes are subsidizing that service, that allows us a little more revenue to continue to be able to offer that. So driver's license appointments, over 11,000. Again, a lot more appointments than we had last year. You have to remember, not everybody that we serve walks out with a credential. Permit testing, CDL testing, where those folks don't pass, and they may have to come back several times in order to finally be able to be issued. Same with things like Real ID. At the beginning of the year, there was a huge push for Real ID so that people could meet that deadline. Not everybody had their documents when they come in. So.
Okay.
So total appointments over 18,000. I think that just shows that a lot of people come to the treasurer's office. That's not counting. We only do appointments for title transfers and driver's license. That's not counting all the people that walk up and register replacement titles, plate switches. They just have a question, handicap placards, all of those things.
Okay.
So 2025 phone calls, we answered almost 22,000, which was almost across the board the exact number as last year. So we're pretty busy. A lot of people like to talk to us. So last year I talked about House File 675. This increased the county retention fees. So when we process a title previously, we charged $25 for a title and the county retained $2.50 of that. Well, with House File 675, which the treasurers have been pushing for about 5 to 6 years, finally got it pushed over the finish line. That increased how much we can collect and how much we actually retain in the county. So now a title is $35 and we retain $12.50 of that transaction. And then same with tax and same with lien fees. So I had projected last year that we would probably have a titling retention of about $200,000 per year. So this year, again, kind of a breakdown of, we collected $14.5 million in motor vehicles and driver's license. This was fiscal year 24-25. And these numbers should come right off of our annual report, easy to match up to. And as you can see, we retained about 500, if you include the postage that we collect, about 541,000, and we sent $14 million to the DOT and the Department of Revenue.
Give your share.
We did. We did. So this is just, again, pulling from our year-end reports. These are the basic expenses that it took to run our office. Obviously, you know, salary is our biggest resource. That's always my biggest line item. You know, we also have the expensive renewal notices that we send out, you know, paper, staplers, Post-its, all, you know, all that good stuff as well. So our total expenses for fiscal year 24-25 were about $367,000. So the difference in my office between what we took in for motor vehicles and driver's licenses and what we spent was $128,000. And that number last year, before the impacts of House File 675, was 38,000. And you have to remember that House File 674 did not kick in until January 1st of last year. So if you're talking fiscal year 24-25, that's only a 6-month impact. And when you consider that the month of January, a lot of people, I mean, we're still processing titles that were under the old fees. It's probably even a little bit low. So if you look at a calendar year comparison, which because House File 674 was implemented 1/1/25, I think that gives a little better picture of what that retention looks like for Marion County. So that compares calendar year 2024 roughly calendar year 2025, and the difference is about 215,000. So really, I just copy and pasted our summary from last year. There's not a lot of difference at this point. You know, we're kind of hunkered down, waiting to see what the future holds. You know, we have a lot of big software projects, a big records migration for motor vehicles and driver's license, and I think my team's up to the challenge.
Thank you for the summary. I appreciate that. Great work to you and your staff, and I do, you know, your department is one of those that can have some revenue bringing, and I know that bringing coming in, and you've worked diligent for that, and I'm grateful for that. But not only that, you do really focus on trying to get the best interest for, you know, for the county, and so I am thankful for that side of things too, because
We do,
you know,
and we've got some great partners to work with as well.
Yeah. So. When looking at it, I don't really have any questions, Michaela. You know, you're gonna continue with the current staff you have? Are you looking at anything change there, or?
I am not.
Okay.
Nope.
Pretty straightforward to me.
Yes, and for us that aren't revenue generators, such as ourselves, we're grateful for you.
Yeah, you shouldn't see any big increases in there. If there is, it's probably a typo. You should let me know.
So,
You know, when we're looking at expenses going up 2.9% and revenue going up 6.24%, that's a good budget.
Well, and again, the bulk of that expense increase is in salaries, and that's a result of the salary study. I think that's where we need to be, we should be, so.
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you to your staff.
Okay,
Thank you, Michaela.
thank you.
We wanna
Take a 5-minute break.
take just a 5-minute break, and then we will
Sure.
finish up with you. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course, yeah.
All right. In motion to, let's come back at, what do you wanna say? Yeah, 25 after, does that work? I motion.
Go on recess. Motion that we recess for a 10-minute break.
Support.
Johnner.
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. 23.
We are back and we put, entertain a motion to reconvene back into session.
So moved.
Right.
McCombs.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Johnner.
Lindsay, Public Health Director, we appreciate you. Looks like you are the one in your department, and there's several that public health, environmental health, general assistance, medical examiners, and senior nutrition.
That's great.
Yeah.
We
All
can
right,
go in order if that's okay. We'll start with public health.
that'll be great. And we do have some
Some new
sheets.
sheets.
Yep. So,
Yes. So on the revenue side, that's our big change. So we recently received a 5-year, $15 million project through the state of Iowa, combat cancer prevention and screening. So it begins this month, and then the first project will run through October. So that's the biggest part of the project, money wise, $5 million. And then every year after that will be $2 million. So it does run on a federal fiscal year, which is why the money doesn't quite match up to the project period. But we are projecting our revenue for this next state fiscal year, county fiscal year, to be that $7,003,302 that I wrote on the bottom of your sheet. So these numbers are not in the workbook yet. We haven't made those changes, but we will.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is very exciting. I'm very grateful for and proud of our staff. They did a great job writing an incredible application.
and I think it needs to be noted that, you weren't given a lot of time as board. of
That's
health.
accurate.
And for, we sat down and said, yep, okay, we're supportive, and then I think turnaround was just like a week or something. It
Wasn't very long and it was over the holidays and yes.
Yeah, so grateful to you and your staff. And I'm actually thankful for the state of Iowa to coming
Yes.
back and giving it to a government agency that I feel that can do it versus, not that nonprofits don't do a good job. I just think that this is something that we definitely could help and partnering with other counties to
Mhm.
help work with us.
Right.
I think it's an initiative that we need to take on our own, and we need to help correct, and hopefully this cancer battle, we can reduce these numbers. So,
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. Yes, we're going to work with public health departments across the state, as well as the Iowa Cancer Consortium, to educate the public and to hand out fit tests for at-home testing for both colorectal cancer and also for radon. It can offer radon mitigation for those homes that are high in radon. And then we'll work, the skin cancer portion is dermatoscopes for healthcare providers for skin cancer screenings, as well as tablets in pharmacies and libraries in every rural county for telehealth services. So it's very widespread.
yeah, I mean, can I just say just really quick, I mean, can you imagine this, let's use Bussy, okay? You can, Bussy Library, I'm assuming it'd be working the time to have your telehealth provider, but somebody that is, lived in Bussy all their life, doesn't have maybe the capability that's maybe a little older, that can get to the library and do a telehealth appointment.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah, transportation is often a difficulty for people.
Yeah, so, yeah, very supportive.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So that's our major change in revenue for next year. The other change we had is we had an opioid grant through the state of Iowa and it ended. So that was the end of the program was last fall. So we don't have that revenue. That was about $45,000 a year. So that is not in here, but otherwise we don't have any revenue changes at this point. I guess you never know. So expense-wise, as far as public health goes, the Board of Health did approve the salary study recommendations, so all of those are in here. We will also hire a project manager to help manage this combat cancer grant. So that will be a full-time position as long as the grant lasts. Fully funded also by those funds.
Okay. And then also, there will be, some of the work, I mean, especially interim, I know, you guys are having to pick up until you can get somebody. And,
Yes.
There's some cost savings to the county.
Yes.
Because some of that could be pulled from the grant because of what you guys are gonna have to do extra work. Not one person could probably do
handle
No.
everything with that.
Especially at first. There's a lot of plans that need to be made with different deadlines throughout this first project period. So yeah, it'll be a lot of us working in-house, not full-time, but partial time. So it did, when we received this project, it did cut our county ask in half from about 670,000 to 370,000.
That's very beneficial, yes, and that helps the bottom line in being able to be a balanced budget for us, and so we're grateful for your staff to, your willingness, so. Okay.
So I think other than that, we didn't have very many changes. We do pay for our own copier. So I know we talked a little bit yesterday about the copier and the postage, and that's just because we can bill our grants. So when we send out postage for a specific grant, like preparedness, we can bill the grant to be reimbursed for that. So if we're paying for it on the front side, it's just easier for us to track and bill the grants and then receive those revenues.
Okay.
So that's why those are still in here.
All right. Does anybody have any questions regarding the public health portion of this? Lindsay does a good job, just being able to clearly articulate what's going on, but also there's a lot of line items, but I appreciate the fiscal responsibility. I know, especially when you're adding a grant that large, and you have to be able to track. So, yeah. Okay.
Since you brought up the printers and the copy machines, did you piggyback with the new machines with the county purchase?
Yes.
So you've got the deal, it's just you're being billed separate.
That's right. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So Jake takes care of that for us. They just split the bill out. So part of it gets expensed to us, the rest to 99.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know Drew did a really nice job
Yes.
of negotiating to try to make sure that we had consistent, new, well-maintained equipment for printers and copy machines, county water, all the county offices. So I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure you were.
It cut our bill in half. So yeah, it's been great.
Yep. And you got new equipment.
Yes,
That's a win-win.
it is.
All right. Going with the next one is we doing environmental health.
Sure.
That's number 43.
I appreciate that. Number of it.
All right.
So
Yeah.
revenue wise, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You can just take it away, and regarding, I know there's not a lot of change. I mean, but
That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
So revenue wise, we're exactly the same as last year. So the revenue comes from a state grant for private well grants for well and cistern plugins. That's the $50,000. The 30,000 is for septic permits. So before a septic system can be installed, there's a permit that is taken out with the county to help cover the cost of inspections. And then other miscellaneous fees is just pools and tattoo inspections. And right now, prior to receiving this project, we had radon tests for sale. So we've been purchasing them in our environmental health budget and then selling them at a discount to the public.
Which people have been utilizing.
Yes,
Which is
we
great.
have sold a lot. Yes.
Yeah, so considering when I bought one, I mean, what the price, what we could buy in it, in bulk. Yeah, so
How do we get that information out to the public? Because I was not aware that we did that. I mean, I just think that's awesome.
Yeah. So we post it on our social media. It's in our newsletter. Yeah, it's
I
something
think
we
it's
just
one of
started
those-
doing. So we need to be better about it. It is true.
but if having people tell like, oh,
Yes,
hey, I
word
got
of mouth.
one,
Yeah.
you can go, so.
Yeah, and it has taken off. We've been doing it for a few months and keep selling more month over month.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
Expense wise, same thing with the salary study. The Board of Health did approve that. So that's what these numbers are in here. The first one, $3,000. So we have a receptionist who has been providing admin services to environmental health, just doing some paperwork, phone calls, scheduling, that sort of thing. So her time is split out and we bill based on what she actually works in environmental health to this budget. So we have budgeted a department director and a full-time person. We currently do not have any environmental health staff, but we do have someone coming on next month to start, and that will be that other full-time position.
And they're currently, they will be under you as the public health director. And
That's right.
They're not going to be considered a director. They're just going to be a public or environmental health.
It's a field assistant is the
Yeah,
position.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, good. All right. just seeing how that goes, and then obviously leaving that in there in case.
In case we hire another person, yeah.
And I will say, depending upon, as interest rates go down, there will be shifting and there could be a lot more work.
Yes,
So,
I think
yeah.
it's a very busy department, that's for sure.
You increased your office supplies. Is there something that you guys have to buy personally for environmental health?
We would need a computer for that second person,
Okay.
and just based on usage, I mean, this year to date, it was 2,300. So I just looked at that and did raise that a little bit. And then the motor vehicle line to go down. So we budgeted to purchase a vehicle this year. We actually ended up purchasing it last fiscal year. So we won't need to do that again next year. So that's why that number went down.
I don't have any other questions.
What's up?
General assistance, which you're gonna have to remind me of.
25.
It's called social services on that.
Okay. This budget is exactly the same. We didn't adjust any of the numbers for next year. So we have no additional ask from the county.
We feel like overall, I know you guys do your due diligence. I think it's important for the board to understand that, they have to stop at other places first before they come.
Yes.
Kind of county's the last resort.
Right.
And it's calendar year and how they can be, it's not like they can cut every month.
Right. There's a limit per calendar year. Yes. Or rolling year, I think is what we do. $750. Yes.
So. And then they have to, there's paperwork that they have to
Mhm.
fill out. It's time consuming and they have to do, but I mean, ultimately. It's there for a reason, but we just don't want it to be a revolving door, I guess. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yes, there's an application process and a meeting with one of our staff members. And she does refer people to other resources that are in the county to make sure we're not duplicating resources. And then, yes, assist them if they're not able to get assistance elsewhere.
So the funds that the expenditure that we all kind of approved last year, excuse me, for housing support during the fire, where would that be in your budget? Is that under this section of social
Thinking.
services, or where would that be?
It was definitely in this budget. And
I just want to make sure that I thought that was an awesome ability to be able to do that.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that we continue to, number one, I'd like to make sure everybody's aware that the county did that in an emergency situation to help support members of our county.
right.
And we stepped into that role and did that, and those are some of the things that we, in an emergency situation, we just do that, so.
Yeah, that would have gone into our rent payment line. Which it's on my first page, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's
And
on
that-
that page, second to the bottom.
Right. And that's also
Okay.
rental assistance
Gotcha.
for members of the community. If they need help paying their rent, that goes in there too.
Awesome. No further questions on that one. Let's do medical examiner. Yep. That's
28.
number 28.
So this one is the same as well.
We did some adjustments.
Last year.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, so last year, and I did notice this as I was reviewing it yesterday, we had budgeted this current year for all of the medical examiner investigators to get new computers. That's that first line. So that can be taken out. We don't need to do that again next year. $4,000. I know it's not very much, but that would be more true to the budget.
It adds up,
Yeah,
fund one.
that's right.
You're learning. That's right. You get it.
Yeah, no, that would be good.
When you say next year, are you talking about this budget?
Yeah, that very
I'll make a sticky note.
Okay,
You'll-
I'll put a note in my.
you'll-
The top line.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, other than that, there's no changes.
Again, I think it's mindful that this is something that we have to provide. It can be costly, but it is a service that we have to do, so. And we do get a little bit of revenue.
Yes, a little bit.
Not necessarily, it's just hit or miss, you know, it just depends. But, yeah. No further questions, so we'll see nutrition, which is the next one.
So there is a reduction in expenses for next year, and we've just been steadily reducing the amount that we're budgeting for meals. So this is very unpredictable. Usually we have between 8 and 12 people who are receiving meals, but it does fluctuate. And I'm not even sure on what the economy potentially or somebody's health, you know, if they're not able to leave the house as often, these meals are delivered to their home. So that is very helpful as well. So I did reduce that by 20,000. We'll continue to monitor that, and if it can go down again next year, we'll reduce it again.
And again, like you said before, it's a sliding scale fee.
Yes.
And it is for those that, you know, are needed, it's just. It's not, we just
Right.
can't do that anymore, right? You know, in the past, remember being here when there was a lot, I mean, you know, but just feasibly you can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we do have a staff member who does visit people once a year in their home to provide care coordination, to refer them to other resources that they might need, that sort of thing. So that's that first line there.
Let's go back into the revenue side of it. That looks like you continue to reduce that too, because there just isn't the.
Yeah, the top line there is the county ask, the 39,650. And that's what we talked about briefly yesterday, where we do a quarterly draw based on actual amounts. So that's what we budgeted, but we'll draw only what we need.
Okay.
And then the 7,000 would be meal contributions from people who are receiving the meals. Sometimes we get a donation, that happens every once in a while, but otherwise that's coming from people who receive them.
Does a great job.
Thank you.
Pretty. Yeah. Appreciative, and yeah, I don't have any other further questions. They oversee a lot of departments, so.
And I think you do a great job.
Thank you.
Everybody in your department, kudos again to
Yes, we have a great
you and
rep.
I have to tell you, after being now in the county for a full year and watching how all the county department heads and how all the employees, I could not be more proud of everybody that we have on staff and the dedication that everybody has. And it's just amazing and outstanding to watch good people do a good job. So
We're
kudos
together well, yeah.
We have a good group.
yes, we do. Absolutely.
So. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, we've just got a few more things that we need to finish up, regarding this budget session. Just to recap and regarding, trying to shore up a little bit in Fund 11. It's not going to fix everything, but I think it will help. And that would be to move, there's currently 4 deputies that are coming out of, Fund 11. And roughly about $100,000 a piece if you know, average that off. I'm thinking we probably should move 2 of those back to Fund 1. And then that will alleviate some of Fund 11, and we're just gonna have to monitor that for the future and see. And so if we go to the cash flow reports, and we go to Fund 11, which, you know, obviously is mainly helps to try to get clear right. Fund 11. Right now we have a net change of $273,000, and that would shore that up maybe a little bit. So in hopes that maybe we could have more of a balanced budget there. and not keep reducing that ending fund balance. Because again, it's budgeted, hopefully we don't spend all of it, but removing, 2 of those deputies and moving it over to fund, 1. I think. Big picture, I think we're setting pretty well, in Fund One, even with just what, Lizzie had spoke about. That would give us, pretty much a balanced budget, we're showing negative 328, but that would bring us. She was saying, half her department, the increase, so that bring it down 300, and again, that's. When looking at it, it is, worst case scenario, I guess, because it's budgeted and we're hopefully not gonna spend all that. Yeah. That's just,
I don't disagree with our intent to shore up Fund 11. My only question, and again, I know from a business standpoint, you can just view things from a governmental standpoint. I'm not sure how to transfer funds. Jake, so here's the question to you is what would be easier moving 2 deputies out of 11 and start charging them to Fund 1, or would it be easier to just say, you know what, we're going to take $200,000 out of the fund balance out of Fund 1, transfer it over to 11, and leave those guys charged where they are today? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really make any difference other than.
Right, the net, so the net would be the same thing, right?
Be the same thing.
Yeah, but it's my opinion that we need to, and it's a one-time setup change come July 1. We need to move their chart of account number, move 2 of those chart of account numbers to Fund 1 and start expensing them out of there. Transfers are only allowed for certain purposes, and it's you're 100%. That's exactly how end result, but transfers are not to be used in that manner because it's doing like one heavy fund is here and putting it down here and still levying this amount. So that's
got it.
Then the end result is exactly what you're saying.
Right.
But I believe we need to expense it, and it'll be a July 1 change.
Sure.
Yep. Good.
If I wasn't going to ask the question,
Nope.
somebody to the audience or
No, it's-
somebody along the line.
no,
asked
that's all
that question.
Yep, absolutely.
So, I think we need to probably have a motion that, give Drake, the directive of moving 2 of those deputies, from Fund 11 to Fund 1.
So move.
Second.
Johnner.
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
The next item we need to do is, we need to look at the levy rate. Jake had given us the sheets.
So if you want to look at it on one page, I don't know if it's in your binder, but the one that had the historical levy rates, or the levy rates are on that state printouts, or
Right here.
they're actually on your cash flow worksheets too.
Yeah.
But maybe the easiest would be to look at if you want to look at the actual number, is that single sheet there? That's the number. If you want to know cash per
I'm trying
levy.
to find it. I put my thought in this version, but.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So Jake had done his sheet in the beginning, and I'm sure it's in my book, I just need to find it, regarding overall total countywide, all rural would be $9.36. That is a levy date rate reduction overall, which if I have my calculations correct, that's 16 cents of a decrease. Please note to those that are listening online, with House File 718, that has reduced from FY 25-26 from $3.39 down to $3.29. Okay. So I think what is presented to us, I think we leave general supplemental in my mind at 205. That again covers a lot of our benefits, and that's important. So I think it's a cost savings, reducing the levy, and I'm fine with that.
And supports the budget
As
as submitted.
Yep, yep.
So,
Second.
well, motion supporting.
So levies as presented.
As presented.
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner.
Alright.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Yep, no, thank you, Jake. And then the last thing, I think it's important that we talk to for Jake, and this will be something that will come officially later on, but appropriation of the budget. There's generally a resolution in regarding that, but I think we need to give directive of, to the auditor's office of what we're looking at. Are we looking at appropriating the budget as a whole? And I know we did that in the past. And there has been times in the past where we have done appropriation of 90%, 95%, whatever. Is that more work? Yes, it is. I think last year we chose to do 100%, and so far, I feel like every department is doing their due diligence. Again, it's a budget, doesn't mean you have to spend it. We try to save where we can. I also don't like to do the puppet of, I can control that, I can pull that, you present a budget, you do it within reason, you're doing it because this is what you feel would be the max that we would need. And overall, I feel like our departments have done excellent job, and not very rarely we have to have budget amendments. And that's again, more work. So, I mean, you know what I mean? So, and if we've had to have a budget amendment, times it, it'd be, maybe, somebody got an exorbitant amount of revenue, right? So, yeah, I'm fine with 100%.
I'm fine with that too. I have faith in my department head. I trust him.
I'm perfectly fine with 100%. I think it's odd that you would do anything other than if you trust your department heads and what they're presenting and requesting. I think it would be odd not to fund it at 100%. And if you run sideways of that, then you have an individual issue that you need to address with the department head. You trust them, and we'll go from there. Hold them accountable for the numbers that they put in.
Yep, I appreciate that. Last thing, unless Jake has something else, thank you to the board. This is probably, in my 8 years, this has been the most streamlined, the most efficient budget session we've had, and I think that's because of us being proactive and saying we were going to do a salary study, and that salary study produced those results, and that we were able to use that. I know change is not always easy, and I thank you, department heads, for relaying it to your employees how we were doing this. I want to thank our HR department for the heavy involvement in the salary study. It's been a lot of work, and there's been a lot of change in this past year, whether it's the handbook, the salary study. But I feel like we are coming to the point of those big projects are slowing down, because we have been able to do so much in the last year, and it has made it so that we are more efficient. So, and it'll allow us to be able to budget for the future. And so when Jake gives us a number and says, hey, this is what we're looking at come the first of the year, we kind of have an idea of, hey, this is what we can afford, right? So, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless Jake has something further.
No, just again, we're thank yous, but appreciate the efforts. I appreciate this week and doing it mornings and being done. And done is in caveats. We have our versions now. There are very few departments that need to make some changes. We'll work with them to do that. What's next is the process we laid out in the beginning. So on next week, Tuesday's agenda, you will have a resolution setting the public hearing date for your max tax ask. And effectively, you've just established what we are going to use and project and program moving forward. And that's the levies that you guys just talked about for the general fund and the rural fund. So that will be a resolution setting that public hearing date. That'll start the process for that public hearing and the letters to go out. Hopefully the cities and schools get their information as well. And then we'll kind of start that all over again, have a resolution set in public hearing date for your adopted budget. So appreciate this week and the decisions that were made and everybody's efforts. The budget itself isn't officially final until like we do it in April. All its processes along the way, but you've given us the meat that we need to move forward. So that's just kind of where the status. So, okay.
And thank you, Jake,
Yep.
for your due diligence.
It's a team.
Your staff.
It's a team.
So it is a team, we are a team, so. Staff, entertain a motion to close the budget session.
Move to close the budget session.
I'll support.
McCombs,
All right.
Mueller.
Aye.
Johnner.
Thank you, everyone.